Welcome back to part 4. As I said at the end of part 3, we are going to cover the creation of our slot and recipe class and show you that awesome section in the recipe class where you add your own recipes. Um, it's fairly simple. It's not entirely difficult to do. It's if you can create the tile entity and you can create other parts of the block that are a bit more complicated, it should be fairly simple for you to read and understand the section where you're adding your own recipes. Um, so we're going to go ahead and get started first here where we left off in the container, and we're going to create our slot smoker and create this easy one-for-one class. As you can see, we have our class here, and what we want to do is go ahead and go to the slot class for the furnace, the vanilla source code. You want to I'm going to beat that into your head. I don't know how many times, but I've said it and said it and said it. It should be right there for you to understand. Using that code will solve all of your problems without having to ask how this is not working and why that is not working. We're just going to go right ahead and paste that right over here. Checking our imports for ones that need to be removed. Example, our furnace recipe. Everything else should pretty much be normal things that we need. We'll go ahead and rename our class back to what it's supposed to be. That takes care of most of our issues. And as you can see over here, we have one red mark. All of this stuff here does is check the slots for valid items. If you, which I have seen this question asked several times, how can I make my furnace accept only the items I want? This is the class that does the checking. The actual items are stored in the recipe class. If you put the wrong items in, obviously it won't do anything. Well, that stuff there that you're asking and you're talking about is all handled between your recipe class and your slot class. We're going to go ahead and fix this one here. As you can see, once again, we have not created this class yet. This is the on crafting section here. And what this does is trigger achievements. For those of you that want to create new achievements, this is where that is done. In the recipe or the furnace for achievements, there are only 2 actually, and as you can see, they are here. When you're creating iron and you're cooking fish, you could delete those and create your own achievements, which have to be done in the mod class. You actually have to create the achievement first, and you could add them here in your slot class, and you can have them triggered when you're smelting things in the furnace. And the same deal with the crafting table. It has its own list of triggers as well for those achievements, and they're handled in the same fashion in its own slot class for slot crafting, and that's how that is done. Just simply viewing those files will answer probably 90% of the questions I get in my PM box alone. And I have stated many times to please use the forum thread for asking questions. I have very little time to answer all of your questions through my PM box when you could simply ask them on the thread, and someone may see them before I do and can possibly answer them a lot faster. You're aiming at one person when you should be aiming at the majority of the people that can help you. You'd get results a lot faster that way. I know that from experience, simply because I have asked people directly and have gotten little to no response. And I've asked the same questions in the development section and on tutorial threads, and have gotten answers probably, I couldn't tell you, much faster. I mean, I might not get those answers the same day, much like you're getting those results from me, where if you're asking me directly, it could be up to a week before I even answer or even see that PM. There's times when it's been 2 weeks since I've logged in. So if you're relying on me, you may be waiting a while. Um, so anyway, we're going to create our recipe class now, and this is how we do that. Just same as we've always been doing. We can actually go back to the slot class and save it and close it out. The red X will go away as soon as we make this class. We're just going to copy the one in the vanilla source code and create that right on over. I do apologize if I sound completely arrogant with all this. But I can't stress enough how many times I've stated to use that vanilla code. It's there for you to learn from. It is a big, big tool for getting the results that you want. It will help you immensely to get the exact results you're looking for. Unless you're creating something really unique and really off the wall, and you're stuck on something that the vanilla code simply cannot help you with. I mean, there may be to a point in some other class that has a little bit of reference to something along the lines that you're trying to do, and finding those classes, I understand, are hard. I've had issues here recently where someone helped me and pointed me in the direction of a class that I would never have even thought to check to get the results I was looking for. But it does happen. But if you're just making something basic, something that's already there, it's already there. So as you can see now, renaming this class has literally fixed all the errors that we had in this class. But if you look here in the recipe section, you can see that this is where all the recipes for the furnace are stored. And you obviously, if you're creating something new, you do not want those recipes. So we're going to go ahead and pick one. I usually pick the first one, and we're going to leave that one there. One, that is a example for me to go by right here for making my own recipes and how to use those recipes. And basically what it is, you want to add your smelting recipe. This is what you want to smelt, your block of iron ore, and you want to create a new item or block depending on what you want to create. You're making here an iron ingot, and this little piece right here that is very necessary in this code that has been around for a while now. If you've created recipes in your mod class for the basic furnace, you would know that this is for all of your experience points. How much percentage of a point are you getting by smelting something? And here you can see making one iron ingot from one block of iron, you're getting 0.7 of a point of experience point. So by the time you've made your second one, you're getting experience, and that's when they start racking up. You can change this to whatever you want for depending on the rarity of the items you're trying to smelt. Some of them have a higher value, some of them have a much lower value. Um, that's how that works. And as you can see, this is the recipes, and this little section right here explains exactly what I've just said. You have a integer of par 1, and the par 1 is of what value? Well, the value right here is a block of iron ore. And this part right here is what that block turns into. And the experience list is when you've created that block, that item, or whatever you're creating, it's going to tell you how much your value is for your experience. Okay, and as you can see here, get the smelting result has been deprecated. It's going to change. I believe it actually does change in 1.7 from things I've read, um, where you can use metadata values on certain things, and it'll work a lot better. So if you want to smelt um, a block of something that you've created in game and it has metadata, say you've got this one block and it's got 4 sub blocks to it. Obviously, you want to make sure you get the right block back, and that is how that's going to work. Also, deprecated back here is your experience points, and it is basically coming back to the same thing as this as to what it's going to change to. This is a very simple class. This is just a recipe class, and that's that. That's how that's made. And that's a little bit of an explanation of what some of this stuff is. The experience, we all know what the experience is. The orbs. I'm not going to try and explain this and sound like I'm incredibly genius with it, but I'm not. I just know that this is where it's getting the experience points and how it determines them. Same as with the smelting result. Basically, what this is doing is telling this section up here, I believe it's this one, and this one combined for what you're supposed to put out. Those are all handled within this class to make sure that the right item is given when the right item is put in. And that is that class. And now that I've saved that, the smoker recipes and the slot class are both now error free, and so is the tile entity, because those two classes have been created and are error free. This class, let's see, why is this not oh, never mind, it went away. As you can see, the container is now error free and the block is not error free. We still have some errors up here because we have to save our mod class, and we now have only one error here, and I'm going to cover that in the next section, part 5, which should be the final part, and we're going to cover that in the GUI handler, which is complete. Okay, and that's where I'm going to go ahead and end right here, and we will pick up in the next section, the final section, with the GUI handler and anything else that may still have an error for finalizing our furnace. And then we're going to go ahead and run it so that you can see it does work and shows up in game as it's supposed to. Thanks for watching.